Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Levi. I'm the founder of DynAImc. We help financial firms scaling using AI tools and custom automations. And this is the podcast, The Balance, and today I'm with a very special guest, Igor. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm very excited for today's episode. To get started, could you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what do you exactly do?
Thank you, Levi. Thank you for having me on your podcast. So, my background, I'm a CPA myself. I've been in accounting for many years. I also hold an MBA from Ivy Business School, and I have an interesting background on how I ended up in accounting space and owning a firm. I'm actually coming from banking, so my career started at RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, and I've gone through finance teams. I've worked in internal audit, and my latest role before I decided to go fully solo and taking on the accounting world and owning an accounting firm, I was a senior director in internal audit, actually managing a global team. And it was an interesting role because it was innovation role. So I've transitioned out of actual auditing and actual accounting into more of a transformation space and using technology to enhance our accounting systems and enhancing our auditing tools and auditing processes. As I was doing that, concurrently, I also started building the accounting business, and I started building first the consulting side of it. So my partner and I, this is not under Accountor, but we have another entity called Sphere Consulting, and that entity we pretty much started straight out of school. So as soon as we finished university, we said, well, what could we do here? So we started taking smaller contracts on working with companies on their accounting systems, helping them configure them, and really just diving deep into remodeling their processes and just innovating. Because especially 10 years ago, a lot of companies were coming out with their online and cloud solutions, and business owners were just looking for that basic guidance, and us straight out of school with our background and our desire to use tech, we pretty much just started learning it from grounds up and helping clients grow. So we've scaled that business, and at some point I realized that a lot of accountants are going to be in retiring stages, and you're going to be having a lot of firms and a lot of clients looking for somebody to take over those portfolios. So a few years ago, I decided to actually go and acquire our first firm, and from there we've acquired 4 companies so far that we've integrated under Accountor Canada, and we're turning all of these companies into cloud practices, and we'll dive a little deeper later in the podcast about how we're doing it.
Yeah, because with your current business, it makes me curious. What is like the biggest challenge that you are facing at the moment, and how are you planning to like tackle it?
Mhm. I think the biggest challenge comes, I would say, from 2 pillars. So it's your client pillar and the employee side of it. Technology is just the enabler in all of this. So when we're integrating practices and we're trying to bring the accounting practices to modern age and using modern technology, is that you can actually do it internally. You can have any system you want, but it's the clients that need to actually use them and cooperate with you. So our recent purchase, we've acquired a very traditional practice, like traditional to a point of they had a storage room, and when we walked in, they had documents there from like 90s, right? And it's like a massive room with documents, and they store everything. Staff were printing general ledger items, right? They would close a month, and then I would see 300-400 page stack of documents on their table. And when we started changing everything, changing the processes, moving everything to digital, cloud, eliminating paper, we started to face challenges with the client book, right? Because clients were used to a certain way of doing things, and we've started doing it right before the tax season as well. So it was a very challenging time to try and talk to every single client. So just to put into perspective, let's say you have over 1,000 clients in that practice of various sizes, and we had to break down the portfolio between kind of corporate, right, our higher risk, higher value clients that I had to personally tackle with my senior management team, because I had to meet with all of them and get their buy-in pretty much, right? So I was trying to get their buy-in to use our processes, to accept the new way of doing things and actually migrating to our systems. So it took a lot of effort, pretty much just educating and getting the clients to buy into your strategy, because from a costing perspective we would be more efficient, right? So part of the pitch that we had for them is to say, hey guys, we could actually become more efficient, potentially even see lesser fees being charged on certain tasks. But it will still increase my margins. But that two-way conversation was extremely challenging. We're, by the way, still going through it, and we're continuing to support these clients in that transition. So even though, to conclude, you might have all the tools available to you, we might have AI, we might have a lot of automations, but unfortunately, it only works when you have a standard process, right? And everybody from the beginning to the end of the process, they're all using these tools. They're all following it. Once you have individuals who are deciding to do their own thing, right, the process breaks. And no matter how much technology we put in, it's not going to work. So that is kind of the main challenge that we're currently facing. And second challenge, I would say, on the employee side, right, is employees, you also need to keep them up to date with technological changes, with new technology that you're rolling out. We rolled out Financial Sense right now across our platform for project management and for practice management. And we've spent significant amount of time of training. And you'll be surprised, like you would think, right, if the CEO saying, or if managers are saying you have to use the tool, this is our practice management tool, people still don't, right? So like that concept of, hey, we rolled something out and we assume everybody in our practice are just gonna follow the process because they were told to. Well, no, you have to continuously reiterate, continuous training sessions, controls in place, and it's going to be still, I would say, another year to 2 years of that journey until I think everybody's going to be on the same page as I want them to be.
Mm-hmm. And with Accountor, what is like the biggest goal that you're working towards right now?
So the biggest goal that we're actually expanding into the US market. We're bringing our marketing strategy and SEO strategy. We're not a typical accounting firm. We actually invest significantly into online presence, education, online presence, case studies, blogs. I'm building an ecosystem, right? So I don't want to have just an accounting firm. I want an ecosystem for my clients where they come in and everything finance related is with us. We have a network of legal professionals that work with us, our partners, financial planners, insurance brokers, wealth management. Everybody is under the same umbrella, so I can service my client really end to end and provide the needed guidance for them. And we're continuing to, within Canada, to roll practices under Accountor and innovating and changing really the industry. Key to get to a point where we can actually say, you know what, we've tapped out everything in the Canadian market, but now I'm actually shifting focus to the bigger United States market, right? Because you've got so much business there and so much potential, and I want to test out our online and marketing strategy on the US market and more on the bigger scale.
And where do you hope Accountor to be in like 5 years from now?
I think 5 years from now, I would say we're looking to have at least presence in 30 plus states across the United States. And I would say within Canada, I'm really looking to scale it to, I would say, 5 million in EBITDA, right, in Canada from a Canadian market. And we are actually, I would say we are 3 years away based on our sales and onboarding. So the way our cycle works, it's not just a typical cycle. In most accounting firms, they work on referrals, right? But we have a sales team, we have account executives, we have business development guys, because we have leads coming in from our online platforms on a daily basis. So you have somebody servicing these leads. So those projections are mostly based on our historical performance and historical lead intake and the way the sales team is currently performing, plus the acquisitions, right? So this is where I'm looking to take the firm in the future and really see how the tech side is going to be impacting the way our work is done. I think we're still quite a few years away from seeing technology impacting directly the client, but accounting firms, we all have an opportunity to become more efficient while keeping the fees the same, right? So you can actually have bigger margins until eventually clients realize, hey, probably if you're more efficient, right, some of these savings need to get passed on, but we're not there yet. So I really want to leverage that in the next few years.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And you already mentioned like AI, that you're really working with that a lot. It's not 100% where it should be maybe, but what is your vision on the future of accounting with the growth of AI and social media?
I think the accounting is going to be there, right? It's not going to get eliminated. Some people say, yeah, AI can do a lot of the tasks. So where I see it, it's kind of going to be a tiered changes. Lower level accounts, very straightforward accounts, right? I would say the sole proprietors, a person who's running one business, maybe sales up to $300,000. I think we're going to get to a point where AI will be able to just communicate with the business owners to clarify the transactions and actually have the bookkeeping, the end-to-end cycle completed there for it to move to the tax team, to move to tax accountants and everybody else. So that efficiency we're going to see in the next few years for sure. Those easy accounts are going to get eliminated. Anything that's medium to larger volume, that is harder, especially the way people run their businesses, is that you have humans who are really struggling to unpack, right, and work with them just on the volume side. AI will be able to help you build the processes, automate certain things, so you'll just become more efficient, and we will have to adjust our practices towards more advisory and consulting, right? Is that people are going to be looking to accounting firms to say, well, I have this tool, I have this AI, like how is it going to be impacting my processes? How is it going to be impacting my accounting department? So we will have to do those analysis. We'll have to see how it impacts their internal control environment. We're going to have to see how it's going to be impacting their clients and interaction with other divisions, right? Is that I think finance and accounting is still a little behind compared to say your R&D teams, your marketing teams, right? Like they're using a lot of these tools already, but on the accounting, it's a little more regulated, right? So we need to still figure out how regulators are going to be coming in, how CPA are going to be accepting the usage of certain tools in your practice when you're say auditing, when you're reviewing financials. To what extent will we be able to place reliance really depends on the regulators. But again, it's developing at such fast pace that I think they will have to adjust as well. They'll just have to accept it and work with us on this.
Yeah, I agree. And next to AI, what other like key trends are you looking into or responding to right now with your firm?
I think key trends and threats a little bit, I would say, our governments, like in full transparency, the governments over the last decade, they haven't been the most efficient, right? So especially in Canada, and I'll speak specifically about Canada, they've accumulated significant national debt, and our tax agency, the Canada Revenue Agency, they have increased their staff. They probably doubled over the last few years. So you have an unlimited amount of resources. So they're moving away from a risk-based auditing, risk-based review approaches to all-in approach, right? Every claim that you make, every line item that a corporation files, they're reviewing. We've seen a huge growth in reviews, so which we've never seen before, which means that supporting your clients throughout the review, supporting them throughout the audit is going to be extremely time consuming and heavy. And on top of doing the regular work, imagine the day-to-day, you also need a task force or a team that's going to be responding. If you have a firm with a few thousand clients, I can guarantee you 25% to 35% of that book is going to get selected for all of these reviews, communications. And also because CRA have scaled their staff so fast, they are lacking basic knowledge that they should have. So you're really dealing with individuals who don't fully understand what they're looking at. They're following checklists. So the time that we spend to respond to them, communicate with them, is proportionally larger. So figuring out how do we balance all of these requests, right? So I would say the regulatory environment has changed. They're requesting more, they're asking for more, but we need to figure out, well, how do we do the day-to-day? We support the client, that all the deliverables we have, plus that extra support, because those requests, they are lengthy and they take a lot of time. And potentially we'll have to work with clients. There's going to be reassessments, right? There's going to be changes that they might want to propose. So it's really going to be a client management side plus the government management side. So we're really trying to assess what is the impact from this. But I do see potentially driving costs higher for us, as well as higher costs to the client, because somebody has to do the work, where clients are not going to be doing that. And they're using AI tools as well to flag a lot of things, right? So things that were slipped under the carpet back in the day, now they're flagging everything. So that's going to become a challenge. and everybody's talking about it as well.
Yeah. And something else, and this is about like your firm.
Mhm.
What is important to your firm? Like, what are your firm's core values, and how does this show up in your day-to-day operations?
Yeah, I think what I've been telling my staff and what I want us to be is what's our differentiating factor, right, and competitive advantage is that we service our client end to end, and the key is the response time and the client communication, client management. We have, with no matter how big or small the client is, my expectation from all of our staff is same day communication, same day replies, and being able to respond to client challenges immediately. We get a lot of clients who are coming to us and saying, well, I've worked with this accountant for many years, this accounting firm, but they respond to me like 2 3 weeks after I inquire, and I need to send 5 emails. And I'm like, well, that's not how we're working. And with the usage of technology and financial sense, it allows us to have live chats with our clients. Right? So we have a chat where they can message us, they can communicate with us. We can tag them on transactions, we can tag them on different requests. So the instant communication is my priority, and client comes first, right? As we are working with our clients on the end to end, and as I talked and mentioned before, on the ecosystem side. My core goal for the firm is to become one place similar to the Big Four, where you can actually get service from valuations, legal, and everything else all in one place. So I'm trying to build that ecosystem. I'm not hiring it in-house, but I'm building processes with these vendors and these partners to have that partner network where it's seamless. It all goes through us, and they're plugged in into our environment. So the client doesn't really need to do anything else to interact, right? So that ecosystem is a huge component that I'm trying to implement. Similar to Apple, right? Like you take your earphones, everything integrates. You don't need to think about much. So that's kind of the goal and of the firm and where I want to get.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool, man. That's nice. I really like how everything with Apple just connects. I've got everything from Apple, like my laptop, my iMac, my HomePods, my headphones, my phone, all of it.
Yeah,
It's the best.
and you want it all in one place, right? So, and with tech, it allowed us to bring for our clients, right? Say with Financial Sense, they have their client portal. So in that client portal, they have all of their information, documentation, like everything there. Something simple as a client comes to us and say, "Hey, I'm trying to get a loan, and can you send me all of these documents?" It's no longer happening. And before, firms were spending a lot of time, right? Or clients were chasing them, "Hey, I need this today." Now they have their portal, all the information is there. You log in, you grab everything you need. You don't need to be emailing anybody, you don't need to be requesting anything. So that one place with everything in there, especially for your business, I really want to get to that point where we can service every need, financial need of our client within our platform.
Yeah. Igor, what is one piece of advice that you would give another accountant or an entrepreneur that is listening right now that is looking to grow or looking to innovate their business?
I would say don't be scared of change. I've been in change management my entire life. Change management is tough, and every firm we take over, when I sit down to have a conversation with the CPA to say, hey, why haven't you like done anything, right? There are a lot of easy wins. And their answer would be like, well, we're scared for change, right? We don't know how clients would have responded. We don't know how employees would have responded. So what I would say is you just start doing something. You need to find a champion. So number one, you need to find somebody within the firm who could be your champion for change. Somebody with background, project management background. Select a small test, right? Select a small pilot test with a couple individuals, a couple clients. Roll it out there. Show people the value. Show people that yes, it works. Show your employees life is much easier with some of these tools, and slowly start scaling it for the entire organization. You're going to get pushback, have the naysayers, but that's just part of change management, right? So we've been doing it. I've been doing it at the bank, and the bank is what, like, now RBC is over 80,000 people, right? So every rollout that we would have, it would be impacting thousands and thousands of people. And 70% of them were saying, no, it's not going to work. This is too complicated, or no, we should be doing things the same way we did them. We would say, yeah, great, and just go ahead and just continue doing it, right? You just got to push through and implement your vision, make sure that you just follow your vision and you follow your strategy, because employees, no matter how much we want them to push their strategy, they would rather just do the same thing they've been doing yesterday, 2 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah. And Igor, if people want to have more of this advice or learn from you or maybe even work with you, where can they best find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, right? Just type my name, you'll find me. You can go on our Accountor.ca webpage. Our entire team is there on the About Me page. You can find me there as well. We have a live chat with our sales team, so if you don't find me on LinkedIn, you can message my sales team and they'll pass it to me and they'll say, hey, somebody wants to connect with you. That happened in the past as well. But also you can just email me, Igor@Accountor.ca, my direct email. I'm always happy to connect, always happy to chat and see if I can provide any value to anybody, right, from clients to people who are looking to grow their practice.
Yeah, I'll also make sure to put the links to your social media and where people can find you in the description of this podcast below. Igor, I really want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It was nice to know more about you, more about your background, more about your business and your vision, of course. Is there any last words that you've got for the podcast?
No, I think we've covered a great amount of ground, and I'm really looking forward to see what's going to happen in the next 1 to 5 years with the industry. And I wanted to thank you for doing this, because everybody talks about technology, everybody talks about AI, but really putting it into perspective, I think that's great, because you're bringing industry professionals who are actually impacted by it and using it. So it's great to see, and it's a great initiative. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your nice word. Thank you again for being on the podcast. Also, ladies and gentlemen at home, thank you as well for listening today. If you've got any questions towards Igor, the links to his social media will be in the description of the podcast. If you want to reach out to me or work with us, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find us at DynAImc.com. And then it's not the original word dynamic, but we moved the I and the M. So it's AI next to each other. But I'll also put links to that in the description of the podcast as well. Again, thank you for listening. My guest today was Igor. My name is Levi, and this was the podcast, The Balance. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.